I might just wait a couple of minutes just to see if people who I've sent the link can get back on. Welcome, Robert and Brian. Hi, Rob. I've just unmuted you. I just got your email. Can you see everything fine now?
Yes, I can. Can
Oh,
you hear me?
amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, I can
Hi,
hear you.
Sarah.
Yes.
Thanks for letting me.
Hello. Yeah, no worries. Sorry the link didn't come through to you. I think a few people have had the same issue, but yeah, I might actually get it started because a few people have requested the recording anyway, and then if people do miss the start, I can just send them the start that they have missed. So welcome everyone. My name is, we've got Claudia coming in. There we go. My name is Sarah and I am the sales executive for Randox Food Diagnostics. Today we'll be going through the best practices in global milk testing. In the interest of time, I know it might be some people's lunch break, so we'll have a frequently asked questions slide at the end. And if anyone has any questions about our technology, feel free to email through too. Just a bit of a background about Randox. So we were established in 1982. We are an international health diagnostic manufacturing company and we do work across 145 countries. We do have a range of products. We do have a lot of clinical products too. So we've got analyzers, reagents, QCs, and quality control programs. What is unique to Randox is our Biochip array technology. So we do screen for multiple analytes at the same time using a competitive immunoassay. We also specialize in custom panels and custom QCs for customers. So if they're looking for certain cutoffs, we do work for that with our HQ team and they do make sure that everything is at a high standard. We do have 3,300 employees, including 650 scientists and engineers. We do manufacture 3.5 billion assays per year, and every year over 370 million patients are diagnosed using our technology. We are the 5th largest manufacturer of clinical chemistry reagents in the world, with 15% of all cholesterols and 10% of all clinical chemistry tests. We are 3rd in the world in quality control and calibrators, and we are the world's largest QAP scheme. 100,000 laboratories do use our products, and we do have a big focus on R&D. We do work with other companies as well. Some of those include Roche and Abbott. And we do have many global locations. So our headquarters is located in the UK. We do have an office in Parramatta as well in New South Wales that we do get our shipments sent to. We do make sure that we do conform to all regulatory requirements. So for Australia, we make sure that everything is in line with the TGA and is registered. And for anyone that does export as well, we are in line with the FDA, for example, too. We do make sure that we do conform to regulatory requirements as well. We are in line with all the ISO accreditations. Something to note is that Randox, the laboratory in the UK, is ISO accredited, so is our manufacturing plant. We have also spoken to NADA directly. They have approved all of our technology and tests, and they are in line with the standards, and all of our tests are on the accredited test list. Now on to Randox Food Diagnostics. So Randox Food Diagnostics is a subsidiary of Randox Laboratories. Over 35 years, we have been in the diagnostic market, and we do have a heavy focus on research and development. We do provide the global food market with screening tests for that, such as veterinary drug residues, antimicrobials, antibiotics, and toxins. So pretty much anything that you don't want into your food. We do offer superb limits of detection and simple sample preparations. And we do specialize in customizing tailored test panels for customers that are looking for specific analytes and cutoffs of interest. With our milk tests, our current Infinaplex milk tests are in line with the UK MRLs. That is the same as that of the Delvo tests and some of the screening tests on the market. So if you are looking for tests that are closer to the Australian MRLs, that would result in not discarding any milk that would otherwise be okay. We can look at doing that for you too. We do have more than 130 dedicated assays or tests. All of our antibodies are manufactured to the highest standard. The multiplex technology does allow us to screen for multiple analytes at the same time on a single sample. And we do have distribution partnerships with over 35 companies across more than 50 countries. Milk has been the major focus, and that includes our Infiniplex project. We also have tests available for a wide range of food matrices that do run on the same analyzer. So we have tests available for meat, seafood, feed and grain, honey, milk and wine. We do work with a lot of government laboratories, for that of the USDA. Also Food Safety Standards Authority India is another one to note. And we do work with many private laboratories too. So one of the main ones to note here is Milk Test New Zealand, also big companies such as Costco in the US. Now on to our Biochip array technology. So Biochip array technology is a multi-analyte testing platform. So it does allow for the simultaneous quantitative or qualitative detection of a wide range of analytes on the single sample. And it is a unique platform for the assessment of biological samples. It is rapid, it is very accurate, and it is easy to use. So you can see the picture on the right. It has all of the dots. Those are our discrete test regions. So each of those are an antibody. Each of those are individual tests that your sample is tested against. We do have quality control dots as well and reference spots to make sure that everything is running correctly, and you'll never get an inaccurate result, as our analyzer will say if there has been any errors. So as you can see on the right, the Biochip is a ceramic platform in which the antibodies for specific various parameters are spotted onto specific locations. The actual technology is based on a competitive immunoassay technique, and there are basic principles of ELISA. So pretty much it's like doing multiple ELISA tests at the one time. We do use horseradish peroxidase to catalyze this reaction. And if you're looking at the picture on the right, if there is more analyte in the sample, it will bind to the antibody, and then that will result in a low light output. If you had a sample that didn't have any antibiotics or anything in it, you would result in a high light output, which I'll show you on the next page. So it is a chemiluminescent reaction. It is captured by the cameras inside of our analyzers. So as I was saying, a negative sample, you'll get a highlight output. So you see that on the left. If there is a positive sample, you'll get the low light signal. There are many benefits of using the Biochip array technology. So it is a simple sample preparation. In particular, with our evidence MultiSTAT, you just load the milk and press play. We do use the multiplex technology, so you do screen for a wide range of analytes simultaneously instead of doing one individual test at a time. We do meet all regulations, so we do conform to all major regulatory requirements, and our test menu is quite extensive. Here's a video. So this goes through out of Infiniplex for milk test on the MultiSTAT. So this is the evidence MultiSTAT that you just saw in the video. So this analyzer is fully automated. So one sample screens for 130 contaminants in under 18 minutes. You only need one operator. They don't need to be laboratory trained. You can get the milk tankers to do it. You can get the farmers to do it. It's pretty much like loading a CD-ROM. You load the milk sample and you press play. You don't need to do anything to prepare the sample. Uses, it's quite good at the farm level. So if any farmers wanted to test their milk before bringing it to the processing area or in the actual processing area, currently a lot of companies are using tests that take 3 hours to get a positive or negative result. 18 minutes is a lot faster, so it can speed up operations and save like manual costs there too. It's generally used as a secondary screening test after a snap test. It's simple to use and you only use a small milk sample as well. So it takes about 200 microliters of milk to get the results. We also have the evidence investigator. So this analyzer is suited more towards your milk laboratories that are doing more samples. You can actually test 9 samples at the one time. And if you wanted to test a smaller amount, 3 is the minimum you can test here. You can actually pop out the biochips and test for a smaller amount. The difference with our evidence investigator is that we do have quantitative tests available for this too. So if you wanted to know the pp levels for analytes, you can use this technology. This technology does have comparable results to that of LCMS and confirmatory methods, and we do have a case study that was completed at the end of this presentation too. This is the biochip itself. So there are 9 biochips in each carrier. One biochip is used for each sample, so you can do up to 45 tests per biochip, which is each white square. There are 4 reference spots for each biochip for the QC. So it will pick up if there has been any incorrect methods that have been applied. So if there has been an incorrect wash step or something wrong there, it will actually pick up and tell you what has gone wrong there. Onto our dairy testing menu. We do have quite an extensive dairy testing menu. So we have multiple compounds that are tested on the list on the left. So we have tests available for antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, corticosteroids, growth promoters, antiparasitics, novobiocin, melamine, cyromycin, anthelmintics, antimicrobials, beta-lactams, mycotoxins, and also bovine pathogens. We have the only commercial multiplex screening test for anthelmintics. And we have the ability to customize analytes into one panel using this list on the side. So if a company wanted to expand their testing from broad spectrum antibiotics to include mycotoxins as well, we can add this onto the same test for you. So with our custom panels, you can choose the analytes of interest. So if you were just looking to test for antibiotics, you can choose the cutoffs. So you can choose it to be more in line with the Australian MRLs, as there isn't really a test on the market that is in line with those. Our custom team at HQ will determine the suitability and cross-reactivity of any of the analytes on these tests. Once it's deemed that it can be made, they create the product. It undergoes a lot of quality control. They manufacture it to the highest standard and they do test it there before we send it out to the customer. Something to note as well, if there is a larger volume of tests for the same custom panel, so if there was a few different Australian manufacturers on the same one, it would decrease the cost for everyone too. So these are the tests we currently have available that will give you quantitative results that do run on our evidence investigator. So we have tests available for anthelmintics. We have 3 antimicrobial arrays, which mainly involve your antibiotics. We've got your beta-lactams array and also mycotoxins. Infinaplex, so this is the most comprehensive milk screening test on the market. It does qualitative to detect 130 contaminants at the same time. It detects all regulated, both authorised and unauthorised antibiotics as defined by the EU. And it does detect a multiple of compounds outside of the antibiotic family too. So the next couple of slides will have the list of what is detected. It is quite an extensive list. So if anyone's interested, I can send through this presentation and also our brochure that has the full scope of what we do test for. So we do have antibiotics, we've got corticosteroids and cyamides, to name a few. The list goes on, so we test for more antibiotics, including penicillins, sulfonamides, and also tetracyclines. And it continues on again, so you've got your polypeptides too. If we were to compare the current tests on the market to the Infinaplex, as you can see, Infinaplex does test for a lot more. It is a lot more comprehensive. The commercial tests on the market are generally a broad spectrum, whilst they are still in line with the European MRLs too. This graph here actually shows if you combined all of the tests currently on the market, you would get 37% of the tests that we can test for with ours. So our Infinaplex test has 98% compliance with the EU Annex 37 for 2010. So we do have the best global practice for milk testing, especially if you are in the export market as well and you're trying to meet some of the other regulations there. If we're looking at a bit of a comparison between the current screening tests on the market, the microbial inhibition test will take 3 hours versus our 18 minutes. You're not going to find out what has tested positive on the microbial inhibition test, but our Infinaplex will actually tell you what has tested positive. So you can take this information back to the farmers and let them know what they can fix and rectify the situation. There can be false positives with the microbial inhibition tests. With Infinaplex, we do have very accurate results in line with confirmatory testing. Our test itself can be customized. The microbial inhibition test is limited to that of the broad spectrum. And we can customize the cutoffs for you too. With the microbial inhibition test, it does come how it comes too. If there is something to take home from this presentation is that Infinaplex is faster. It's 18 minutes versus 3 hours. So you will save time and you will save those labor costs too. We also have a second Infinaplex test on the market. So this is for antiparasitic contaminants. So this does test for 47 contaminants simultaneously. It does detect 100% of all regulated, both authorized and unauthorized antiparasitic veterinary medicines, which act against endoparasites. It also does detect monensin. So it's the only antibiotic that is not currently suitable for the current Infinaplex test. So it does need a sample extraction there. So again, here's a list of what it does test for. This one is quite extensive too. So it does test for benzimidazoles and also levomizole and abamectins. It also continues on, so you've got oxychloroxide and also monenpantal. And you've got monensin mentioned there too. This was the case study I was mentioning earlier. So with this case study, they tested over 300 raw milk samples. They compared Infinaplex to LCMS. So there was a mixture of farm samples, tanker samples, and also the final product. So these were the results that did come out of this one. Our Infinaplex test did have 100% agreement with LCMS. So we did come out with the same results. So that's how you know our technology is very accurate and it is a lot more cheaper than confirmatory testing and those machines too. So this is the study and the paper that was published. If anyone's interested, we can send this one too. Finally, moving on to our bovine pathogen array. So this is one of our newer arrays. It is the world's first multiplexing test for the detection of 6 of the most damaging pathogens in cattle. You'd actually have to do 7 individual ELISA tests to get the same diagnostic information. So you get faster times to results. So one test kit, you get 47 samples and it will take 2.5 hours. And you don't need to prepare the sample for this one as well, so it's quite easy to do. So this one does test for bovine viral diarrhea. You've got bovine herpesvirus, paratuberculosis, leptospirosis, salmonella, Neospora caninum, and Fasciola hepatacea. This will tell you what has tested positive or negative too. So it does provide very valuable information to the farmers if they do need to treat any of their cattle. Here is our frequently asked questions. So with our kits, everything comes included in them. You don't need to purchase any extra QCs or calibrators. With our Infinaplex kits, for the evidence MultiSTAT, the kit will come with 11 samples or test worth with controls included. The evidence investigator with the higher throughput, you will get 48 samples and test worth with the controls included there too. What can be tested on our analyzers, so both the MultiSTAT and the evidence investigator with the milk samples, it can be anything from the farm samples, the tanker samples, or also the final product. So that does come to the end of the webinar. If anyone does have any questions or specific questions I'd like answered, feel free to email me and we will send out the recording to the people that weren't able to make it here today, because I know a lot of people are doing audits at the moment. So yes, well, thank you for listening.
Thanks, Sarah. Go.
Oh, thank you, Rob.
See you next time. Bye.
I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.